Before we start, I would like to give a few comments about the course. This is online course. Then there's no teacher-student interaction. That is one of the problems in this the course, because when you physically present, I myself go and discuss with you and direct you, discuss the problems and solve those problems then and there. But here it is up to you. More responsibilities lies with you, because at home, you are at home, maybe the concentration sometimes may be deviate to some other activities. But it is very important to stick to this plan, stick to your plan, listen to this, and try all these assignments. Now in these presentations, I will have 7 presentations for microeconomics and another 7 presentations for macro. Then in between, we have the tutorial assignments, quizzes, tutorials, assignments and quizzes. I want you to try those things at home. Then once I give a tutorial, following day, first thing in the class, I will discuss the tutorial and the possible answers. Right. So the attendance is must. Concentration is very important, because now this field is very competitive. So there are lots of the courses in this nature. Sometimes private universities, private institutions conduct. So in your case, IBSL is recognized by the banking the community. So when you the searching jobs, so the IBSL qualification is very valid. That's important. So to get that qualification, you have to, from your part, commitment is very important. Determination is very important. So determined to finish this course. So sometimes the students complete the IABF, they don't continue to do the BABF. No point. This is happening in most of the professional courses. The CIMA Part 1, Part 2 is completed, but they don't move to the final part. Chartered Part 1, the Part 2 completed, final part is not completed. Right? Then when you go to the job interviews, you are getting low weight once you are not completed your professional qualification. I have met I worked for the central bank for 30 years, and then I retired. Now since I think I have been teaching at IBSL for about I don't know, 25 years. Yes, especially economics and some other courses also. Also, I'm teaching the Colombo Uni and another private institutions, the advanced degree program. So the completion is very important. Determination is very important. So you may have so many other responsibilities at home. Sometimes so some of you are may be working. So the working people, time is very precise. Scarce good. So but time management is must. Even you are working, or whether you are working or not, time management is must. You have to allocate your time for the household works, domestic work, your reading, your professional qualification, and you have to enjoy with friends and your FB. Also, these are everything simultaneously. You should be able to attend these things. You should be Sangakar. You should be a Mahela Jayavadana. All-rounding the practice is very important, right? That is my request. Attendance, commitments, time management, right? Okay. Then today is our first day. The first the lesson is about introduction to this principles of economics. Let me see. Basic. In this course, we are going to discuss basic economic concepts. What we are going to learn in economics. how this course has been organized, and the basically the what are the basic concepts we are going to discuss, right? So the economics is a social science. Social science, right? Like any other subjects, there are a set of jargons, technical terms. The first thing is you have to analyze, understand these technical terms, vocabulary, jargon, GDP, gross domestic product, utility, right? The opportunity cost. These are the jargons, like in the chemistry, the neutrons, protons, the structure of the structure of the atom, like that. Be familiar with these the concepts, jargons, economic concepts, and and also the basic after these basic concepts, in macroeconomics. The next session I will have macroeconomics. Today we are going to micro, and this session is micro and then macroeconomics. You have to go through some other the applied economics concepts, understand applied economic concepts. You have to use central bank annual report. Central bank annual report is must, first chapter especially. In that is one of the references. In addition to that, you have references the Lipsian crystal. Take down Lipsian crystal, the introduction to introductory economics, Lipsian crystal. Then again, you have the very good textbooks as written by Director General of IBSL, Mr. Karunatilaka, CPA Karunatilaka. He has written 2 books. For the introductory course, he has written a book. It is available in the library. You can get the reference from the library, and if you want, you need not to buy. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, please? If you can't hear me, please let me know. Give me a call. Yeah. So Mr. Karunatilaka has written very good 2 books, basic concepts, and I want you to use one of these textbooks, right? Central Bank Annual Report, and also Sunday Times business page. Every Sunday they have the separate business page. They discuss very important economic concepts, applied economic concepts in relation to Sri Lankan economy. What is happening to growth rate? What is happening to unemployment? What is happening to exchange rate? Right. So these things are also important. You have to train your mind to become an economist, right? So that you have to get knowledge from other sources also. Discuss with the professional, discuss with teachers, discuss with bankers, what is going on in the bank, what is going on in the interest rate regimes, right? So these are very important. Okay, now the basic economic concepts. The first thing is, what is economics? For any subject, you have to understand what is the subject, what are we going to learn this, what is the scope of the subject, technical terms, right? Now, if you take any society, resources. What are the resources? Available resources. People is a resource. Land is a resource, right? Capital. When you say capital, it is not money. Chairs, tables, computers, buildings, the other infrastructure facilities, electricity, the water. These are the facilities. These are capital goods. Then entrepreneurship is a resource. Land is a resource. The labor is a resource. The capital is a resource. Then entrepreneurship. To be a businessman. Entrepreneurship. Not everybody can be a businessman. Take risky decisions, right? Allocate his money, allocate his funds, invest his funds to run a business, right? It's a special resource. In myself, I can teach you. I can share my knowledge. I don't know how effective that thing, but it is sharing of knowledge is my job. But the businessman job is different. He is a risk taker, but his entrepreneurship capacity is a resource. So every economy has a pool of resources: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. From the other side, you have human wants. We need goods and services. We need goods and services. Number one. That is the goods may be tangible, services not tangible. At the same time, we need the mental wants. We need love. We need courage. We need determination, commitment. These are mental the wants, right? Then the human wants unlimited, resources limited. Human wants unlimited, insatiable. Humans are greedy. Human wants are insatiable. But to fulfill these human wants, we have limited resources: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Then there is a conflict. There is a conflict. So it is called, this conflict is, in other words, it's the surfaces as a scarcity. Scarcity of resources in relation to human wants is the basic economic problem. Now that is the basic economic problem. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, please? One of you want to answer me?
Yes.
Yeah, right, good.
Yes, of course.
Right. So that is the basic economic problem. So this, now I have asked for the question, is in the scarcity of money the basic economic problem? No. Why is that? Money is a medium of exchange. Money has a different the functions as a medium of exchange, store of wealth, right? Then the medium of the deferred payments, right? We are not talking about that money. Money has a special place. Money has a very important role in the economy. But broader sense, we talk about resources, capital. Capital is not money. Capital is not money, right? Capital is capital goods, buildings, these OLED projectors, this the camera, right? So the chairs, tables, the hotels, everything, capital, right? So the scarcity of money is not the basic economic problem. Scarcity of resources in relation to human want. Now we discuss what are the resources. There are 4 categories of resources. Now you understand. I can quickly go through this: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. They are known as factors of production. Very important jargon, technical term. Factors of production. Another name for resources. Factors of production. Then these factors of production, resources has a price. Price of labor, price of capital, price of land, price of entrepreneurship. Is a reward. Reward for land, reward for labor, reward for capital, reward for entrepreneurship. Reward for entrepreneurship is profit. Price is entrepreneurship is profit. Reward for capital is interest. Reward for labor is wage. Price of labor is wage. Reward of labor is rent, right? That is you get the service, you have to make some payment. That is the reward for the that resource, that particular resource. Land. Now broader definition of these resources: all those free gifts of nature, such as land, forest, minerals. See the very broader definition of land. When you say land, we have a very narrow perspective of the land. Now, in economics, when you say land, it covers forest, minerals, everything. Land, commonly called natural resources. Even the water deposit land, right? So the minerals, they are also coming under land. Labor, all human resources, mental and physical, both. Inherited and acquired are called labor. Inherited resource and acquired resource. You are acquiring now labor, acquiring the human capital. You have invested human capital. You are acquiring knowledge. You want to get a professional qualification. That means your capacity, labor resource enhances, inherited knowledge, right? So that is it's a resource. All human resources. Mental and physical. Capital, all those man-made aid to further production. That's very important, such as tools, machinery, factories, which are used up in the process of making other goods and services. Now, to teach economics, to deliver this lecture, I need all this infrastructure. The OLED projector, the camera, then the computer, everything. sometimes this bottle of water for drinking, then this write, explain things to you on the board. So this Maggie board, everything is whiteboard is important. Those are the capital. Why? To deliver this lecture, making other goods and services. I am doing a service, educational service. So then it is not the money. It is the man-made aid to further production, such as tools, machinery, and factories. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneur is a person who takes risk by introducing both new products and new ways of making old products. New processes, new products. Right? Introduce new products, the new processes. R&D expenditure. Entrepreneur spent research and development expenses. And a good example is nowadays we have a serious problem, COVID-19. Then now the vaccination is coming. There are 4 companies, 4 firms have introduced the vaccine. Once you start doing research, the first phase, there are 4 phases. First phase, in the laboratory you produce this, then go to the field. Phase 2, then you phase 3, you testing with the people, around 30,000, 40,000 people, students in various age categories from different countries. You have to get you have to inject this to these people. Actually, that's also, there's a huge process. Volunteers should be there. It should be volunteer. There's a huge insurance for these volunteers. If something goes wrong, this insurance coverage is there. You can say, okay, I want to be a volunteer for this testing. No, it's a very difficult process. WHO has some guidelines to become a volunteer, right? You have to follow this volunteer, then only you can go to the particular country and particular the testing field and get that injected, because if something goes wrong, this is a testing. That is the R&D expenditure. So the research and development R&D expenditure is very important because of this pandemic situation. All the firms, entrepreneurs started, big companies. Pfizer now has come, it's a leading now. Pfizer, they have invented one vaccine. Now it is going to be it has been tested in UK. First time they are going to use that for their people. Priority list is there. First the health, people in the professional in the health sector. After that, all people. Like that, they have priority the sectors. They give this vaccine, right? Not only that, yesterday I saw the news. Once you vaccinate, get the vaccination. If something goes wrong, if there are side effects, well, there's a huge compensation, £120,000 per person, direct effects, right? Along with this vaccination, because that is still it's not WHO completely fully approved, but the UK has agreed to use this Pfizer invented this product, right? So R&D expenditure is very important. It's a huge R&D expenditure, millions of dollars, millions of pounds they are invested to do research. So that's why there's a market, there's a price. That this vaccine has been priced. It's around $50 per one use. I think you have to get 2 injections. $50, around $50. Country like Sri Lanka, yeah, relatively poor country. Sometimes WHO might give deliver that at free of charge one day next year. Yes. So that is entrepreneurship. Risk taker takes risk. If this vaccination, so sometimes in between at phase 2 level, the vaccination fail, you have to drop that. But go away. You have to start from the beginning. So millions of dollars, the abolish, going away, right? That is, you are a risk taker, right? New products and new ways of making old products. He organized the other factors of production and direct them along new lines. Also, he is responsible for business decisions. That's entrepreneurship is it's a very important the resource. Can you be an entrepreneur? If so, how? If not, wow, why? So in my case, as an individual, I can't be entrepreneur because I can't take risk. I can't. My knowledge is about deliver this lecture, give some knowledge about, share the knowledge about basic economics, right? So that I can't be the risk taker, I can't be an entrepreneur, right? One of you maybe think of, yes, I can be an entrepreneur, and can be, I am risk lover, then I can conduct a business, right? That is, it's a hidden thing, it's a resource, individual specific thing, entrepreneurship. Right. What are the human wants? Human wants goods and services, as I explained. We want goods such as houses, cars, shoes, shirts, and saris. Also, we want services such as medical care services, haircuts, laundry services, internet services. They are services. Goods, tangible. Services, intangible. That is one of the differences in good and service. What are the other services, other differences in good and service? Good and service. Good is tangible, service is intangible. Any other suggestions? What is the difference between a good and a service? Yes? Tell me. Loaf of bread and a haircut, getting haircut, and consulting a doctor. The doctor. What is the difference between these two? Good and service, yes. Goods and services. The another important difference is goods are already produced. They are on the shelves. Bread is there on the shelf. You go and you get, ask for 1 loaf of bread, 2 loaf of bread, right? But services, it is not there. Haircuts are not already produced and they are on the shelves. I need this, I know that haircut. No, you can't ask. You go and ask this haircutter to okay, cut this, show the knot 1, 2, 3, or different the style. So you can once he start producing on demand, he start the cutting providing the service. When you go and see a doctor, doctor consultation, first you start, you explain your problem to the doctor. After that, doctor understand. At that point, doctor starts prescribing, asking questions, prescribing medicines to you. He understand, he diagnose and prescribe medicine. That is, services are produced on demand. That moment, on demand. They are not already produced. That is a very important difference between a good and a service. Services are produced on demand. Goods are already produced. I want you to take down these things in the note, right? I think better if you can get this download, and then I want to take some notes. Even have a separate notebook and take down some important points while we are discussing, right? So goods are already produced, services are produced on demand. What is the service performed by a bank? Bank is service. That's very important. Banks perform a very big important service. Intermediary services. What is intermediary? In a society, when you take society, there are 2 types of the agents, customers, right? People with excess money, depositors. People are in need of money, investors. They want money. Other people, they have excess money. Then bank is there. Bank intermediate, bank link those 2 parties, right? Depositors, they come to the bank. The bank say, okay, deposit your money with us. We will give you some, in turn, we give you some reward, so the interest, right? Then on the other side, you are investors. Bank say, okay, we have enough money, excess money. Why don't you get this money and use your project, invest in your project? But remember, you have to pay some reward. You have to pay some the interest, right? So there are the deposit rate and the lending rate. So the bank is doing of intermediary function. That is called intermediate. Bank intermediaries, intermediary function. Bank intermediate, link these 2 factors. Otherwise, what will happen when you do have intermediary function, do have banks doing intermediation? So the cost becomes, cost of searching funds will be smaller. Otherwise, this investor, if there is no bank, investor Go and ask, okay, your friends, other companies, other things, and can I get 1 million, 100 million, because I'm going to start this project. So you have to searching of funds, time consuming. It is the costly job. It is costly job. Transaction cost is very high if there are no banks. If there is a bank, transaction cost will be less. They pull down the transaction cost, right? Bank is doing a very important, important function. Same thing as now the people complain about the middlemen in the vegetable market, middlemen in the paddy market, but they are intermediary function. They are doing a very important service in an economy, right? So from this Palapane, Nuvareli area, farmers produce vegetables, right? Then Colombo market is there. Then some wholesalers are there, retailers in the market, retail sellers are there in the Colombo Peta market. Then you have, in addition to that, you have wholesalers. Before that, you have collectors, intermediaries, middlemen. Middlemen just go to the field and purchase these vegetable and bring that to the town. They sell that to the wholesalers. Wholesalers bring those things to the Colombo and sell that to the retailers, right? So if the middleman is not there, this market is not functioning well. If the middleman is not there, these farmers are not in a position to sell these things. It takes time, maybe 2 days, 3 days time searching for wholesalers. No, but the middleman job is very important. Now the common, the stereotype allegation on the middleman is they are bad. We must abolish middlemen, right? Think about that. Can we abolish? Should we abolish middlemen? No. They are doing a very important intermediary function in the market. Functioning of the market, efficiency improves in the market, middleman. Of course, bank is making profit. The lending rate is higher than the deposit rate. This interest margin is the profit. The profit proportionate to this interest margin. Same thing, middleman is making profit. You get, for example, the cabbage. You get from the, let's say, green chilies. Green chilies, you get these days, Bandaravella area, green chilies, maybe 1 kilo is about 200 rupees. 200 rupees. Middleman get this thing. Then he sell that to the wholesaler, 250 rupees. You get a margin of 50 rupees from a kilo, right? Wholesaler sell that to the retailer, maybe retail seller, maybe 300 rupees. Retailer sell that to the customer, 350 rupees per kilo, right? Or margin that. So but middleman is his service payment. Bank is getting the service payment, interest margin. Middleman is getting the service payment, right? We need those things, right? Think about when you learn economics, now these things, stereotype, the concepts, the allegations, you have to rethink about that, revisit and rethink. Are they correct? What are the functions they are doing, right? Okay. So that is the human wants, goods and services. Then we know the difference between goods and services. Then we have the resources. Resources are limited, wants are unlimited. Economics is the study of how people, societies deal with scarcity. Scarcity of what? Scarcity of resources in relation to human wants. Then economics is the study of how people, how societies, how governments, how countries deal with scarcity. Scarcity. That is the issue. That is the scarcity of resources. Now PCR. PCRs, at the beginning we didn't have PCR test kits. Scarce. Then you import it. You purchase that from the other countries, right? Then what still it is not enough. It is not enough. So the pandemic is spreading very fast. Then you don't have the facilities, PCR test kits. Scarcity of PCR. Then they bought the rapid antigen test. While you are going, while you are working, that's one point. You get you can get the test. You are tested within 20 seconds, 20 minutes. Your results is out. But the PCR is a formal test. It takes 2 days, 3 days, sometimes 1 week because of this Sri Lankan case, right? But the rapid antigen test is most of the professionals recommend That is a very good test to quickly identify the people with this problem, right? COVID, right? So then at that time you can take precaution reaction, right? So the scarcity of PCR, scarcity of rapid antigen test, scarcity of resources in relation to human bonds is the problem. Then countries using their governments, using their policymakers, using their ministers, they handle scarcity. If there is no scarcity, no economics. If the resources are are not scarce, we need not to study economics, right? We are very happy, but because of the scarcity, we learn economics. Scarcity of resources, we learn economics, right? Land is scarce. The labor is scarce in relation to wants, right? That is the scarcity of resources, right? So scarcity is a basic economic problem. Economics is the study of how people and societies deal with scarcity. Now, if you have any questions, clarifications, please ask me. Stop me, sir, I can't understand. So please, can you explain that again? Number two, the usual complaint about my presentation, people say I am a bit fast. So yes, I agree, but in this course, I want you to go through, before you come into the class, just go through these slides and we memorize some of these technical terms, underline the technical terms and come, right? Okay, then you can understand. Can you see the presentation, please? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, good. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Then the scarcity of resources. Now we are proceeding. Scarcity of resources compels countries to make choices. Underline these choices. Choices very about the type and level of economic activities. Accordingly, they have to decide. Resources are scarce, bonds are unlimited. Then societies, countries, government has to decide what goods and services to be produced. How to produce those goods and services. For whom to produce those goods and services. What to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. These are called three basic production questions. Why there is these production questions? Because the scarcity of resources. Countries have to decide whether to produce space shuttles or whether to produce tea, rubber, and coconut and basic primary products, secondary products, right? Then how to produce those goods and services. Should we produce using robots or should we produce using human beings? Right, those countries, right? Our country, if we use robots in every government department, every private sector, the company, labor is unemployed. Then huge problem. Maximum utilization is labor. Now, country like Sri Lanka, you have enough labor, so you can't use robotics. You can't replace these robots. Replace the labor with this robotic engineering, right? How to produce these goods and services? Technology, more labor, less machines, more machines, less labor. Labor intensive technology, capital intensive technology. How to produce those goods and services? It's a question about technology. Right down, it's a question of technology. What goods and services to be produced? Why is that? It is a scarcity of resources. There. Question of technology. Second one is a question about technology. Some the technologies, no labor, completely handled by the machines. Right. For example, if you want to buy cookery book from foreign country, foreign company, through your internet, you make the placement. Order is placed. Then this company is a huge company. They have only 1 or 2 workers. Everything is done online. No people, not that much of people. They sort the things. They go to the inventories, select the material. They send the instruction to the delivery department. Then again they send that to message to the DHL. DHL will the physically, sometimes you send the book to the physically to the DHL. DHL will deliver that to the doorstep following day, right? That is more. Now those type of activities, more are the capitalist machines are used, less labor, right? Some other activity, paddy production, paddy cultivation, 1960s, 1970s, in our country, it's a labor intensive activity. More labor, more female labor was used, more male labor use was, less machines were used. Nowadays, what is happening? It is becoming now capital intensive, labor intensive to machine intensive, capital intensive activity. Right? You have the harvesting for purposes, then the cultivation purposes, preparation of land, machines are doing seeding, weediciding. Machines have been invented. Right now, in the foreign countries, huge lands are there, not like the fragmented lands like in Sri Lanka. There are the land with growing land is maybe around 100 acres, 100 hectares, 200 hectares. Everything is mechanized. No labor is used. Right? Labor is very rarely used labor. Right? So therefore, second question is about the technology of the question about technology. For whom to produce those goods and services? Now, if you produce space shuttles, no demand. You don't want space shuttles, right? We need PCR, we need other activities, we need, at this point, research to produce, find some research to find some the vaccination for this. Now, recently, the indigenous sector, the Ayurvedic medicine have been found. So, for this COVID, the pandemic, right? Now, the government has send that to the panel of professors, panel of Western medical, the university professors, and want to get the recommendation. We were recommending these the drugs, these the things. You have to be careful. If something goes wrong, it is people's life, right? So that's why very carefully you do the research, you get the recommendation, and put that into the market, right? To whom to produce those goods and services. Income distribution. If there are majority of the people are very poor, majority of the people, maybe 80%, 90% of the people are getting less than 1,000 rupees, less than 500 rupees per day. Highly poor. If you produce an electric car, if your government decide to produce electric car, no use. That's the thing. Income distribution. Third question is about the income distribution, how income and wealth is distributed among various sectors in the economy, of the people, right? Right. Right. Economic activities. Now we'll come to this question again. Why does not Sri Lanka produce space shuttles? We produce tea, rubber, coconut, housemaids, construction, then condominiums. We produce those things, construction activity, banking services, haircuts, laundry services. We produce, right? Not the space shuttles, but Japan. They produce. We produce garments. Japan producing space shuttles. We produce garments. We sell that to the US. US produce space shuttles, right? So the why does not Sri Lanka produce space shuttles? There is a very important another reason. We'll come to that. I can yeah. No, space shuttle. When you produce something, we need resources, money and other infrastructure. When you produce something, right? Then what you learn is you give up something. You produce in order to give up something, in order to produce a space shuttle. Space shuttle cost minimum is about $500 million. $500 million, right? It is more than that. So space shuttle more than 500 million, minimum $500 million. I saw that CNN that it is the very simple the space shuttles was they produced some cost estimate was there $500 million. If you remember, it's a country like Sri Lanka, we can't afford that, right? When you if you produce $500 million, you have to cut down other goods and services worth of $500 million to produce one space shuttle. We cannot afford that. So amount of other goods and services that has to be cut down to produce something is called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. I will use another example. Now you are listening to my lecture, online lesson. Now you have given up. You have given up so many other activities. IPL, LPL. Actually, through dialogue, you can watch LPL the match, or you can chat with some one of your friends. You cannot use your FB. So these are the activities you have to give up because of this my lecture. Then you rank these activities. Rank these activities. Missing LPL, missing talking to people, right? Going to the market, going to the supermarket, do some shopping, right? Or missing good sleep, right? Maybe that is the problem. Maybe you are lying on the bed and the listening or the sleeping. I don't know. I can't see, So therefore, because of this lecture, you have to give up so many other activities. You prioritize this. Best foregone activity is the opportunity cost of my lecture. Some of you may say, I will miss a good sleep. That is my opportunity cost of this lecture. Or another person can say, I will miss watching the LPL through dialogue, right? So that is the opportunity cost of this lesson. So everything has an opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Every activity has an opportunity cost. When you're sleeping, when you're drinking, when you're eating, when you're playing, you give up another activity. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is important. When you produce a space shuttle, you have to give up at least 500 million worth of other goods and services, right? Other goods and services. In addition to this direct cost, space shuttles, you have to be scientists should be there. The other machines, the electronic items should be purchased. In addition to that, you have to give up this the explicit cost, direct cost, and the explicit cost. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost of producing a space shuttle is huge. So that's a very fundamental law in economics that is called the countries produce goods and services which has the lower opportunity cost. We produce tea. We don't produce space shuttles. Opportunity cost of producing 1 kilogram of tea is small than opportunity cost of producing a space shuttle. We produce goods and services which has a lower opportunity cost.
Excuse me, sir?
Yeah.
The slide is not moving. It's stuck.
What about now? Hello? Want to see now?
Okay.
I myself has to remove this. Right? Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Opportunity costs are good that if you have good that, please ask me any questions. I don't mind even in Sinhala or English. I can't speak Tamil. I don't mind. මට කියන්න ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේන්නේ නැත්නම් කියන්න ඕනම භාෂාවකින් දෙමළ හැරෙන්න. If you can't see the word. So right, okay. Economic activities. Economic activities in an economy, a large number of economic activities, millions, maybe millions, are taken place in a given period of time, a day and year. Think about an economic activity, huge amount of economic activities, production activities, services sector activities, manufacturing sector activities, private companies are working, government hospitals are working, funeral parlors are working, then the salons are working. So these are millions of economic activities if you take, right? All these activities we classified into 3 broad groups: consumption activity, production related economic activity, investment related economic activities, right? Consumption, production, and investment. What is production? The act of transforming factors of production into goods and services is production. Using land, seed paddy, fertilizer, weedicider, maybe sometimes buffaloes or sometimes machines. Paddy farmer start producing paddy. Act of transforming factors of production. Farmer uses factors of production to produce paddy, right? Garment factory use thread and machines, computers, designers to produce garments, right? That is act of transforming factors of production into goods and services is production. Then act of using goods and services to satisfy human wants is consumption. Now, our consumption, basic object of consumption is satisfaction. Satisfy. So the satisfaction, human wants, satisfy human wants is the act of using goods and services. We consume. Farmer producers, we consume rice. For what? Not for, you can't say it is for survival. No, other thing is our satisfaction. Satisfaction. So satisfaction is the utility. To get some utility, people consume. Consumption. Produce, consumption. Investment. Act of producing or purchasing goods that are not immediate consumption. Future consumption. Future consumption is called investment. Using these raw materials, the resources, a construction firm build condominium. That is an investment project. Not immediate consumption, for future purpose. He sell and the people come and reside. Those things, residents will be coming using these things. That is for future project. Factory. Investment is you start a new factory. That is for future purposes. Future production capacity will enhance. Future production will be enhanced because of this investment, right? Act of producing or purchasing goods that are not for immediate consumption is investment. Now, Port Harbour project still not yet completed. It's a huge investment. One of the largest investment in Sri Lankan government in collaboration with China. They are Port Harbour projects, right? That is not for immediate consumption. Output will be produced after maybe 5 years, 6 years, 10 years time. We have a new extended city. Colombo will be extended. New the residential places, new the golf clubs, new activities will be there. New restaurants will be there in that area, right? New factories, new the condominiums will be there, right? And that activity, right? This is very common in Philippines also. New Philippines, new city. It is a huge land area, like reclamation land is there in the Philippines. Old city and the new city. New city is completed, reclaimed. The land reclamation was there. It's a huge, very beautiful city, right? Here in Sri Lanka also, Colombo, this extended area, the huge, very beautiful city after 10 years, 15 years time, right? That we will see what will happen. Still, so that is an investment. Producers produce, consumers consume, investors invest, right? Producers produce, consumers consume, investors invest. These are some jargons and the classifications. Types of economic analysis. Now, because to study economics, we divide this whole subject into different the analysis, types of analysis, right? Analysis. Wait a minute. The main types of analysis of the subject: positive versus normative, positive economics and normative economics. Number 2, short-run analysis, long-run analysis. Then static analysis, compared to static analysis. Static and dynamic analysis. Right? These are the 4 types of the economic the analysis, types of analysis in economics. Positive versus normative. Now, what is positive versus positive economics? Deals with objective or scientific explanations of the working of the economy. If A occurs, B will occur. If rain comes, drought will end. If people do not wear face masks, there will be upsurge in the COVID-19 cases. That is the A and B. If A occurs, B will occur. If people do not wear face masks, there will be upsurge in increase in number of cases, COVID cases, right? That's A occurs. If A happen, B will happen. That is the result. Right? So that is what positive economy. They are based on some facts, numbers. We don't comment about those, but they are based on some facts, numbers. Actually, if A happen, B will happen. If there is drought, There will be the lower paddy production. There will be drop in coconut production. There will be drought, right? Drought will reduce the decrease the coconut production. Positive statement. A normative statement, this you have to understand. Normative statement is normative economics deals with the question of what ought to be and offers prescription or recommendation based on value judgments. In addition to this positive part, you have your own judgments, whether it is good or bad, what ought to be. For example, if you take this positive statement, if people do not wear face masks, the number of COVID cases will increase. Up to that, it is positive. Now I extend that the statement, if people do not wear face masks, the number of the COVID cases will increase. Therefore, there should be some regulations. There should be some regulations that make people to wear face masks. Right? That is a legal requirement. You should make that legal requirement. Right? Other side is you can let people to decide. That is their life. Let people to decide. Right? No. The normative statement, in addition to that positive part, you give your own judgment, whether it is good or bad. That is a normative statement. Closed economies, open economic policies are better than closed economic policies. Normative. Economics is more interesting than the customer banking. Normative. We don't know. For me, maybe economics is more interesting than customer banking. For you, one of you, customer banking is more interesting than it's a judgments. Personal judgment is there. Not always a fact. Always there is no fact. First part is a fact based on some numbers. Inflation rate is 2%. Growth rate is -5%. Positive. Interest rate is falling. Interest rate is falling. Fact. It is positive. Now you can make it normative. Interest rates, deposit rates are falling. Therefore, pensioners' income will be less. As a result, government should subsidize the interest rate for the interest margin for the pensioners. That is normative. You can't say no. Why should we give some interest margin to the pensioners? It is up to them to make adjustment in their living standard, right? But normative, you give judgments also. Interest rates are falling, pensioners' income will be less. Therefore, government should make some remedial measures. That is normative. Your own judgments are used in the normative. Positive versus normative. A short run is the period. Next one. Short run versus long run. A short run is the period during which consumers and producers have not had enough time to make all adjustments to the new situation. The analysis in this situation is defined as short run. Take example. For example, if you start a business today, you have enough money. You have enough people. You can hire any number of people, but you need 10 computers. At the moment, you have 1 computer, right? So capital is fixed. Capital is computer is capital. Coming under capital, labor is variable. Labor, you can hire any number of workers, but capital is fixed in the short run. Today, you start the business. Tomorrow, if you go and ask bank manager to give some loans, ask for money, loan of 1 million to buy computers, he might say, no. You can't give you. You have started the business yesterday, but you are asking money from me today. No, wait another 5 months, 6 months, perform you. And then I will consider granting a loan, right? Therefore, your adjustments, you are restricted. You can't make all your adjustment. Your labor is variable, but capital is fixed. Therefore, that is defined as the short run. But you can't say it is 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months time. No. We don't know. But in the long run, all the factors of production will be variable. Labor is a variable, capital is a variable, bank will give you more money, you can expand your factory, you can go to a different scope of you are producing at the moment you are producing tea, you can think of producing another service sector activity, right? Starting hospital, like Hemas, like Bandits, right? So that is long run. In the short run, you have fixed factor. At least one factor is fixed. In the long run, no fixed factors. All are variable factors. Understand? Therefore, the movement, the point where fixed factor becomes variable factors is the short run. For some entrepreneurs, short run may be 2 months. After 2 months' time, your fixed factor becomes variable factor. All become variable factor. Another entrepreneur, short run may be 6 months. After 6 months, your all fixed factors will become a variable factor. Another company, it could be a 1 year. Both company, you never be able to make a fixed factor variable factor, right? That is short run, long run demarcation is not fixed. It depends. It depends, right? So therefore, you have to think about that. You can't say it is 6 months short run, more than 6 months long run. No, it depends on your nature of your factor of production. At what speed, the speed at which your fixed factor becomes a variable, the time period where your fixed factor becomes a variable factor. That is the demarcation. Okay. Long run is a time period during which consumers and producers have had enough time to make all adjustments. Fixed factors become anything you can do. You can start a new business, you can buy any number of computers, you can hire any number of workers, you can change your scope of the business. At the moment you are in the exporting industry, or you start the hospital, private hospital, start government, the private educational institution, scope of the business, you change, right? That is long run. Statics. I will discuss these two, statics, and you can understand, but I will not discuss this in detail. Statics is a branch of economics which studies the properties of a given equilibrium in a market or an economic system today. Comparative statics means from today to tomorrow, how this system changes. Comparative is a branch of economy which compare equilibrium, positioning, changing the condition, shifting the demand curve. Demand and supply curve cuts to study the equilibrium, price and the quantity. Then for some reasons, demand increases. Then you come to another equilibrium, demand curve increases, price increases, quantity increases. Therefore, that is comparative statics. Studying this particular equilibrium is static analysis. You studying the other one, comparing these two situations is called comparative statics. Static today. Comparative static, you have condition change, you move to the another equilibrium, then you discuss the characteristic changes in these two equilibriums. Quantity, price, both increase because of this demand increases. Now these days, what is happening in the world? Aggregate demand is falling, oil prices falling. Why is that? Demand for oil falling, tourism falling, right? So the demand curve, demand for goods and services decreasing, shifting down. Prices, quantities, both decreases. That is compared to pre-COVID, post-COVID period. Is the pre-COVID period situation, if you analyze, that is called static analysis. Then post-COVID period, now today, another equilibrium, lower price, lower quantities. If you compare these two, that is called comparative static. Is the branch of economics which compares equilibrium positions when external conditions change. New demand, new normal. We call it new normal. New normal, lower prices, lower demand, lower the production, high unemployment, new conditions. Here it is, good demand, higher prices, higher employment, the higher balance of payment surpluses, the low inflation. Now this period, high inflation, low economic growth, like that. You compare these two equilibriums in the economy, that is called comparative statics. Dynamics is the branch of economics which analyze the time path and the stability of the new equilibrium. Then you have two equilibriums. Time path, how long will it take for these adjustments? Time path, will that diverge or the converges to this new equilibrium? This analysis is called dynamics. Dynamics, time path, and the stability of the new equilibrium. These are the things we are going to in advanced mathematics. Mathematically, you do differential equations and analyze these dynamics of the systems. But generally, you can understand what is statics, what is comparative statics, to equilibrium study. Dynamics is moving from one equilibrium to another. Dynamics. Right. Then another two main divisions of the subject. Micro versus macro. Micro, I have given the definition, seeing the economy through a microscope. When you see the things through a microscope, you can see small things. Then macroeconomics, seeing the economy through a telescope, big thing. When you see in microeconomy, you see the economy through a microscope. You can see small matters, small things, analyze microscopy. The bacteria, you can see, analyze the dissection of a small animal, small the particles, then analyze. That is called micro. Macro means you can see the big thing. Microeconomics is the study of behavior of individual economic agents, consumers' behavior, producers' behavior, companies' behavior, behavior of a consumer, behavior of a market for rice, market for coconut. Now these days, coconut prices are very high. 100 rupees, 120 rupees, 80 rupees, very small coconut. You can talk to your father or mother. Coconut market is very, it's a big problem for the customers. The coconuts, small coconuts are small, at the same time prices are very high. So that is, if you study the coconut market, what is happening? Why is that? Are there any drought? Is that because of the higher demand? So what is happening in the coconut prices? That analysis is called microeconomic analysis. Study of one particular market is microeconomic analysis, right? Macroeconomic means you study big things: economic growth, unemployment, employment, balance of payment, inflation. These are national income. These are the big things, economy-wide concepts. Economy-wide concepts are studied. That is called macroeconomics. Micro, small; macro, big. Microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics, the branch of economics that deals with the economic activities of individual consumers and producers, or group of consumers and producers known as markets. One market, market for paddy, market for rice. Now rice prices are also these days very high, right? Scarcity of rice, right? So the scarcity of coconut, right? We study of these markets separately is called micro. But the macro, the branch of economics that deals with economic aggregates or the economy as a whole: unemployment, inflation, national income. Now because of this COVID issue, now the different companies have different adjustment process for their labor force, workforce. Some say, okay, you stay at home, work at home. That is one way. Or another company, they say, stay at home, we will pay you only the basic salary, 15,000 rupees. That's all. Your job is secured, right? Once the problem's over, you can come and work. Job is secured. Some companies, some hotel, you completely redundant. We don't want your service. One day we will call you again, but at the moment we can't give you. Especially casual workers are redundant. They are not paid. They are unemployed. So the unemployment is rising. In the sense, unemployment is now increasing because of this COVID. Not only in Sri Lanka, all over the world, it is the problem. See now, self-employed people. How many self-employed? Small boutiques, small scale sellers. So they are unemployed. They can't survive. they can't survive. You may have some experience. More and more people come and get some financial, ask for some financial assistance from your household, right? So that is the problem. That is the problem. That's why the government now doesn't want to shut down whole economy until this problem is over. None of the countries in the world have shut down their economies indefinitely. Well, in that case, especially in Sri Lankan case, in Sri Lankan, you can't do that. Our majority of our employment are in the self-employed division, informal sector, self-employed people. They will be, they will have hard. There will be lots of hardships. Now see now some of these condominiums, the Kalaniya, the Maligavat area flats shut down, right? They can't move. Yeah, most of them are self-employed people, petty traders, they are informal sector workers. Very difficult to work. They usually earn lots of money, but you can't survive now because you are getting only government assistance, right? Unemployment is rising because of the COVID problem. At the same time, as an economist, you can form argument that we should not shut down the whole economy at once. If you shut down the whole economy 2 months, 3 months time, I won't deliver this lecture. IBSL is closed. All the factories are closed. All the departments are closed. No people in the street. So dead. After 3 months, 4 months time, we'll come back after this COVID. But that's a theoretically we can discuss theoretical model. But in the meantime, during that period, how many people will have hardships? How many people will die? That is the issue. Starvation, right? So that's why countries in the world, especially US, developed countries, they never think of this COVID. While they are opening the economy, they don't shut down. They don't want to shut down this the economy, stop this economy. Sometimes they restrict. Not like in Sri Lanka, in our people, in our country, our cultural practices, visitors visit our home. Then you have a cup of coffee with them, biscuits and the cup of coffee, you have chat with them at home. Everything is done at home and then you go away. But in developed countries, in the case, we have coffee shops. Okay, let's have coffee. You make an appointment, 4 o'clock at downtown, come to that coffee shop, we'll meet. They enjoy there. Or the dinner. Now in Sri Lankan case, lunch or dinner, you invite your relatives, friends and have dinner or lunch most of the time at home. But those countries will have the good, there's a good Indian restaurants there downtown. We'll go there and have lunch today, dinner today, right? That is the cultural practices. Now because of this condominium thing, one of the areas they restricted was those things. The restaurants were closed after 9 o'clock. Sometimes the restaurant after 12 o'clock, of whole day. Restaurants, coffee shops are closed. Then the pubs are closed. People are drinking lots. Those days, those countries, people drink a lot. Maybe that is the culture. We can't say it is good or bad. They have the purchasing power. They have the income, enough income. You go and enjoy. That is the entertainment. So then most of the countries, Australia, New Zealand, US, sometimes they, because in response to this COVID issue, they stop. Shut down the pubs, clubs. Because through pubs, this pandemic situation can spread more. Now that is the reason. Now you know this the US the COVID statistics. Have you gone through the CNN or sometimes our telly today morning I checked that at the moment at present in US there are about 14.2 million cases, COVID affected people, 2 million cases, right? We are in Sri Lanka, we have up to now 26,559. Deaths in US, 276,000, 276,000 people are killed, right? In Sri Lanka, 130, right? Then in the world, 7 million people are, million cases, COVID affected, COVID cases, right? All over the world. After that, Then have the deaths. The 15.1 million people are killed. Right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. 15.1 million. Yeah. 130 people. Yeah. 15.1 million people have been killed here. US only 276,000. India 139,000 people killed. 9.57 million the COVID cases, right? So that is because of this India. And so if you take the Indian case also, their culture is different. This is Bombay and the Chennai, this Delhi, huge crowded, around 20 million people. It's like Sri Lanka, small Sri Lanka, right? Nearly Sri Lankan size, right? So they don't, they are uneducated also. They are sector activities, lots of universities. It's very easy. There's those statistics show their behaviors, their cultural practices, right? We can't say it is good or bad, but governments are trying hard, but you can't change their behavior. Now in France, people they protested. True people, they protested government. Don't shut down this the country. Don't shut down. It's the things, right? Okay. So this thing happening. That is the response of this one. So those countries again, economy is going on while this COVID. Sri Lanka also, we should not shut down the country as a whole. We have to work out. Now, there'll be a decline. The problem. Okay, these are economic related economic acts of the COVID. Is a very good thing to understand economic of country, behavior of economics, micro and micro concepts, right? Okay, right. Then the production possibility curve. Production possibility curve. Now in economics we use the different the tools, different techniques to explain and understand the economic concepts. Production possibility curve is one of these tools. Another tool, demand and supply, demand curve and supply curve, to analyze the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, demand and supply. Another thing, aggregate demand and aggregate supply we discuss. In and services consumption, people economy. To look for lots of economic concept. What is scarcity? What is economic growth? What is opportunity cost? What is efficient allocation of factors of production? What is unemployment? So, these big macroeconomic concepts can be explained, can be illustrated using this curve. That's how we use this tool. It's a tool in economics. Demand supply is a tool in economics, right? So that is in macroeconomy we use the ISLM model. Another tool, economics analysis. ISLM, once you finish the macro, we'll discuss. Last lecture is about the ISLM model. That is to analyze the interest rate and the GDP behavior. This PPC, in shows for each level of the output of one good, the maximum amount of the other good that can be produced. PPC using this the first day we use this PPC. It is all term PB, production possibility boundary. PPB stands for production possibility boundary, and PPF, production possibility frontier. PPB stands for boundary. F stands for frontier, right? So now we'll discuss what is the opportunity cost of attending the IBO. Now we are discussing this IBS classes, right? Opportunity cost. Now these things, I will draw this, just for explain understanding. Production possibility boundary. Kan AC hunda ya? AC hunda ya? Right. Then the production possibility, the boundaries, we assume there are two goods, X and Y. Let's assume food and clothing. Food and clothing. Let's say food and clothing. And clothing. Now we assume there are two goods in the economy, food and clothing, and this number of the workers in this economy is known. Let's assume there are four workers. L, labor, 4 workers. Again we assume there are two goods, there are 4 workers. Technology is given. Technology is given. Technology is known. Technology is known. Right? That is the two goods. Right? 4 workers. Technology is fixed. Now, using these numbers, we can draw the maximum production. If we apply all these 4 workers efficiently or to produce only these 2 goods, what is the maximum production of these 2 goods? That curve is called production possibility curve. Generally, it is a curve. Generally, it is concave curve. Right? So it is the PPC, production possibility curve. PPC, production possibility curve, right? Okay. Then using this PPC, using the 4 workers, using this given technology, this is the, if you apply all the 4 workers to produce these 2 goods, this is the maximum production. Maximum production. For example, if we produce 10, maximum production may be a 90, 20, maybe maximum production may be 80, 30, maximum production may be 70, like that. Then 40, maximum production may be 60. These are the maximum production points. Right? If you don't produce food, maximum production of clothing is this. If you don't produce clothing, maximum production of food is this. So in other words, the PPC indicate the maximum production points of the 2 goods, right? Then using these 2 goods, you can draw the curve. It is this curve. Generally, it is concave. There are special cases. Straight line could be there, convex curve could be there. But for a real economy, it is there. We will discuss the reason. Now, economic growth is if you increase these factors of production available to now these, for this economy we have 4 workers. If you double this 4 workers to 8, then what will happen? You have more resources. With the given technology, you can produce more output. Now what will happen? Now your PPC shifts, outward shift in the PPC. You can produce more. This is called what? The outward shift in the PPC is called growth, economic growth. Production possibility curve shifts outward, If production possibility curve shifts inward, what will happen? Economic activity is shrinking. Now these days, because of COVID, what is happening? Our production possibility frontier, Sri Lanka's production possibility frontier shifting inward, less production. GDP is falling, unemployment is rising, right? Resources are falling. So therefore, because of this external shock, COVID is external shock, our the production possibility frontier is shifting inward. Now, if we have good period, economic performance, economy is growing, production possibility frontier shifts upward. Now these things are very important. So the economic growth is one of the aspects. For example, now can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, sir.
Now in Japan, 1945 period, the US bombs big cities of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello. Yes.
Hello, excuse me.
Hello. Yeah.
Sir, whiteboard is not clear.
Whiteboard is not clear. Color is not clear, or the you can't read.
No, I told about letters.
Letters. I say.
Yes.
These letters. Yes. Okay. I will. ABCD, can you see? Can you read? Can you see?
Yes, of course. The curve is clear, sir.
These letters, these numbers. 90, this is 80, this is 70, this is 60. 90, 80, 60. These numbers. 10, 20, 30, 40. These are the points A, B, C, and D. A, B, C, and D. Okay, right. Now, what this is 2 goods, 4 workers, fixed. These are the assumption of this the PPC, production possibility curve. Right. Now, this in 1945, US, the last few weeks of the Second World War. Japan, the US bombs 2 big cities, in Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. First day Hiroshima, after that Nagasaki. Around 400,000, 600,000 people in both cities were killed. If you visit Japan, there's a huge the museum just to see it's a horrifying activity. What happened in that night, in the morning, down in the morning around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they bombed the city. Within a minute, everything went to ashes, right? Huge building, 1 or 2 buildings were there, but they all burned. All burned, human beings were burned. Very few people escaped. Right, nowadays still there are some side effects of these radiations, deformed kids are born those days. Now also these after maybe the 70 the 80 90 years still the side effects of these the radiations are there. Now what will happen if you draw the production possibility frontier for Hiroshima and Nagasaki before and after this bombing? What will happen? Definitely, this is the before. Let's assume this is before the bombing. After bombing, production possibility frontier shifts out inward shift. Huge the PPC for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Similar thing can be discussed in relation to tsunami. Tsunami 2004. No, yeah. When was that tsunami? 2004 December 26. Yes.
2004.
Yes. Then in Sri Lanka, coastal area from Mullafiu, the Batikor, Trinco, then come to Matara, Hambantota, the Yala, this area, even the Hivala area, whole coastal area, long fishing boats were destroyed. Around 40,000 people were killed. Right? Lots of houses were damaged. If you draw the PPC before and after the tsunami, before and after this the 26th of December 2004, definitely production possibility frontier shifts inward. Why is that? Depletion of labor, depletion of infrastructure, depletion of capital goods, right? These are the things. So that's why it's a PPC is a very interesting tool to understand the economic growth and economic the shrinkage of economic growth, economic downturn and economic upsurge, right? You can discuss using the PPC. Then the next point is economic growth. I'll go to the board now. Right, production possibility curve. Right. Now this the economic growth. These are some of the characteristic of the PPC. PPC curve is concave to the origin. Origin is there, concave to the origin, not a straight line, not a convex. So the concave to the origin. This shape is concave. This shape is convex shape. Concavity implies the increasing opportunity cost. We will come to this point again. The points outside the PPC shows, right? Now the PPC, when you draw this PPC, I said that is the maximum production using these 4 workers, using the given technology. The maximum the economy can produce is that. So the points outside this PPC are unattainable. They cannot get this production combination. What is the reason? Reason is they don't have enough labor. Scarcity of resources is the reason. So scarcity of resources are shown by the point outside the PPC. Scarcity of resources. Your economy cannot move. This is the maximum boundary. Then if you want to produce points outside the production combination outside the PPC, you can't. You don't have enough resources. That is called scarcity of resources. The points outside the PPC shows the scarcity of resources. Another important point. Then The point inside the PPC shows the unemployed resources or inefficient production levels. So inside the PPC, you can produce any combination, food and clothing. But you need not to employ all the 4 workers to get point inside. If you employ all the 4 workers, you can go to the frontier, onto the frontier, can go onto the frontier. But inside the PPC, some of these workers are unemployed, inefficient allocation of resources. Point inside the PPC indicates inefficient or unemployed resources, inefficient allocation of resources, right? Inside. Outside the PPC points, outside the PPC indicate scarcity of resources. Inside points, inside the production combination, inside the PPC indicates the inefficient, unemployed resources. Now, outward shift in the PPC indicate economic growth. Economic growth, economy is growing. Increase in labor, increase in capital, increase in new technology, improvement in new technology. Economic growth is increasing, right? Productivity improvement, economic growth is increasing. Hence, inward shift is called economic contraction. I said, Hiroshima, what is happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945? What is happening to our economy in 2004 due to a tsunami, right? Production frontier shift inward. This is the curve, food and clothing. On the PPC, maximum combination. Then concave implies the increase opportunity cost. I will say opportunity cost is if you increase, now you can see x-axis, food axis 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. Let's assume that what will happen? Initially, let's assume economy is 0 and this point. You increase 0 to 10. Economy move to this point. Then 10 to 20. Economy move to this point. You cut down the clothing and get 10 units of food. Then 20 to 30. You increase food by 10. Cut down this much of clothing. Then the 30 to 40. Cut down this much of clothing. The increase food by 10. In other words, your decrease in the clothing increases. If you want to increase first 10 units, you cut down very small amount of clothing. Second 10 units of food increase, slightly higher clothing amount. You have to cut down. Third food unit, 10 units of food, more clothing output has to be cut down. Fourth 10 units of the food, more clothing units has to be cut down. So in other words, this cutting down, in order to increase the 10 units of food, your reduction in clothing was called opportunity cost of clothing, 10 units of clothing. First 10 units, opportunity cost is very small. Amount of other good that has to be cut down to produce 10 units. First 10 units is easy. You cut down only very small amount of clothing. Opportunity cost of first 10 units is this much of clothing. Second unit, slightly higher level of clothing. Slightly higher level of clothing. Now, concave implies the opportunity cost of increasing opportunity cost. Opportunity cost increases. So the amount increases. We'll work out one example. That is the opportunity cost. Concave shape indicates opportunity cost increase. Suppose PPC is a line, straight line. What will happen to opportunity cost? Constant. Every 10 units, you cut down same amount of clothing. That is because of the straight line. Linear production responsibility frontier, along the linear production responsibility frontier, opportunity cost is constant. Right? Can you see the board or can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you
Yes, sir.
You can see.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Right.
Can hear.
Then we'll now we'll see this point A, inefficient allocation of factors of production. This combination, any of these production combination, we call it, sorry, sorry, hello, inefficient allocation of factors of production. Then point C, the scarcity of factors of production. These combination, economy cannot produce food and clothing at this point. Why? Resources are not enough. Point B, mark this is on the PPC. Actually, B is not indicated, you have to mark on the PPC. That is called efficient allocation. No unemployed resource. All the factors of production, all the 4 workers have been employed. That is called efficient allocation of resources, right? Shifting PPC, next one. Shifting the PPC shows economic growth. Now you can see economic growth, efficient allocation of resources, opportunity cost. These things can be understood, can be illustrated using this PPC. Now this is the last slide, I believe. Yeah, now before that, these are macroeconomy. Macroeconomy. In this economy, you have markets, labor market, financial market, goods market, this market, right? Then the sectors, household, government, firms, and foreign, external sector. 4 sectors, 3 markets. 4 sectors, 3 markets. The whole economy. All economy, 4 sectors. Then the different forces. Firms, the demand labor, household supply labor. Right? Then the financial market, invest in the goods market. Household save in the financial market. Government save in the goods market. Firms save in the goods market. Now the financial market, large number of different players. Commercial banks are there, leasing companies, then the finance companies, large number of players, large number of small markets are there, players are there. But savings, they pool the savings, foreign savings, government savings, household savings, company savings, right? Now this is the whole circulation in macroeconomy. We'll discuss this later. Now we said 4 sectors: government, household, government, business, and foreign. Companies and foreign. Markets: goods market, labor market, and financial market. Activities: production, consumption, investment, imports, and exports, right? Now, next week, we will continue with this, next week. First, I think I might discuss the tutorial 1 or the second lesson. I believe you have that thing. Then we'll continue. Okay, thank you. I want you to go through this again and memorizing what we discussed. So if you, I believe you have taken down some points, important points. Bring a book, new book, and take down small points. And if you have a copy of that, my presentation, you can, as and when you can take down those things and some example, interesting example, because I always choose some interesting example. I always link to this COVID issue in learning economics, basic concepts always. That's why I use these statistics also. Please go through all the note again, take down notes. I want you to complete today itself, right? Today itself, this lesson, right? Work out next week. More probably I'll discuss tutorial and the second lesson. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. If you have any complaint, if you have any adjustment in my presentation, please tell me next week, right? Okay. Thank you. See you next week.